Heat or eat isn't a slogan. It's a grim and stark reality facing thousands of local families. We are currently going through one of the worst cost of living crises in recent memory. One that will have a long-term and very serious implications for health and well-being. Yet, against that background comes the news that the 6 big energy companies made a combined profit of more than 600 million, and that was before the recent increase in bills. Any economic system that imposes crippling and unbearable financial burdens on ordinary working class people and currently sees them go to the wall while pricing basic necessities beyond their reach must be challenged and overturned. We have to ask ourselves why we tolerate this. Why do we meekly accept our lot as if it was inevitable and unavoidable? All the main political parties here support this free market, free for all. They have no intention of facing up to the multinational energy companies because they play an important role on their behalf. That many prove to be a hard lesson for some people to learn, especially when they discover that those parties who shout the loudest about working class people, socialism and radical politics not only have necks of brass, but feet of clay as well. I'm thinking here particularly of Sinn Féin, who seem to be recently engaged in competition to get the words workers and their families into many press statements as they can. It was a pity they didn't think about workers and their families when they supported welfare reform bill, which cut benefits and entitlement, and then handed over responsibility for its implementation to the Tories in Westminster. We are constantly drip-fed the myth that these are international matters, that no one has really any control over, or they just happen, and while it is regrettable, we can't do anything about it. Wrong. We can. This party has called repeatedly for the Westminster government to impose an emergency tax demand on the big 6 energy monopolies, regulate energy prices, and abolish VAT on household fuel bills, something that is now possible because we have left the European Union. The Stormont Assembly, if it was currently in function, should also be funding an energy crisis payment programme. But here's the difference between the Workers' Party and the others calling for short-term migration measures. We go further. If we are to break free of this economic system and all the misery, hardship and poverty it imposes, then the answer lies in bringing energy resources from private ownership into public control. This is the only rational alternative to the rigged gas and electricity markets. Only the establishment of a socialist economy can guarantee ownership, control and benefit for working people and their families. There can be no compromises. There are no alternatives. It's been said before, but let's say it again. Until working people take control of the means of production, distribution and exchange, we will continue to suffer the boom and the bust, crash and burn economics of capitalism. Working people and their families will continue to suffer hardship, continue to pay for the prices they didn't need, and Sinn Féin, the DUP, and the other executive parties will say, it's all terrible, but we're doing our best. Well, your best might be best for you, but it's not best for the rest of us. The current cost of living crisis comes on top of decades of austerity that have seen wages reduced, public services stripped back, welfare benefits savaged, public housing projects sidelined, and opportunities for education and employment, particularly for the working class families, dismissed and denied. One of the many sobering realities to evolve from this crisis has been the fact that more and more people in employment are depending on food banks. Coupled with the astronomical cost of energy, is it any wonder that many families are having to leave vegetables like carrots and potatoes behind simply because they cannot afford to cook them? There can be no doubt but that the efforts and energies of charitable organisations and community volunteers have helped to make a difference to many thousands of lives, and maybe even save some lives. But food banks are not a long-term solution. We should and must be working towards a food bank-free future. A future where a weekly wage guarantees a quality of life, where workers and their families can enjoy the fruits of their labour, where dignity and purpose are restored, and where people can contribute to and be active part of a progressive society. Food bank dependency is increasingly year on year. Latest figures show significantly a 25% increase last year and an increase of almost 200% since 2018. No one, regardless of their circumstances, should be forced to go hungry. No one in receipt of benefits, no one in employment. Young or old, student or pensioner, no one should go hungry in this society in this 21st century. No one. But they are, and they do. And that is one of the reasons that thousands of working people have been forced into taking industrial action in recent months in defence of jobs, services, safe levels of efficient and decent pay. And while they stood on the streets, energy companies and transnational corporations raked up obscene levels of profits and paid out billions of pounds to their executives and to their shareholders. We are not all in this together. The cost of living is a class issue. Food banks could be made unnecessary almost overnight with a major reform of the benefit system, and if working people received the wages they needed to support themselves and their families. The money is there. Currently, it's just in the wrong hands. If there is one thing that we have learned from this current situation, it's that big business always refuse to let a good crisis go to waste. While working families struggle with the basis and the cost of living grows at the fastest rate in a generation, the profits for firms in the FTSE 100 continue to rise, while wages lose value. And it's not just profits for the energy companies. Profits in the agro-business are up by 255%. Oil refineries are making 366% more per barrel. The big shipping companies' profits are up over 2,000%. This isn't a cost of living crisis, it's a cost of profiteering crisis. Once again, we are talking about how the economy is rigged against workers. From the supermarkets to energy bills, oil refineries to transport, we are all being forced to pay the price. Profiteering and an economic system based entirely on maximising profit is at the heart of this crisis. And we are not just talking about a few bad apples. It's systematic. It's the outworkings of a rotten and corrupt system. It's capitalism at its absolute best. No amount of tinkering around the edges, no amount of media spin, No amount of right-wing think tanks blaming striking workers can solve this or any other cost of living crisis. Only a socialist government and a socialist economy can begin to reverse the misery and degradation being heaped upon working people. That, comrades, is a major task and a mammoth piece of work. But fortunately, that is the business we are in. Thank you, comrades.